Hi, good afternoon, everyone. This is my first time to come to India, and I am really excited. Although I have not been here, but for the past 5 years in the US, I have been so impressed by all the Indian companies come to US. I'm really impressed by the entrepreneur spirit that you have. I'm really glad today we finally are launching our ingredient Magtein into Indian market. I want to share with you why I'm so excited by Magtein. It is the groundbreaking ingredient for memory, focus, mood, sleep quality, and healthy brain aging. All right, so I will be covering 5 topics today. What is Magtein? The science behind Magtein and the milestones in Magtein development. The clinical evidence supporting Magtein's benefits. And I also added a section, Magtein for healthy brain aging. That's the new exciting development. Of course, we're going to review the claims and the regulatory status of Magtein. So what is Magtein? Magtein is a patented compound of magnesium L-threonate that has been shown to effectively cross the blood-brain barrier, increasing brain magnesium to improve synaptic density and restore neural functions. Okay, so you can see L-threonate is a key metabolite of vitamin C, and it's already present in our brain and the body. So why Magtein is important? So let's take a look at the marketing information. So we know that our cognitive abilities peak at age 25 and it deteriorates over the time, especially after 50s, the declining of the cognitive benefits increases. There is a strong association of magnesium intake and cognition in the US old adults. The population studies have shown that decrease of the magnesium status leads to the decrease in cognition. When you take a look of the magnesium intake in the global map, you can see that there is estimated 1.4 billion people, 31% of the global population have inadequate magnesium intake. And one thing you probably can notice, the more developed the country are, the less magnesium intake they have. So why is that the case? Because the magnesium source are mostly green leafy vegetables. Okay? So with the developing world, the land overuse and food processing will lead to a significantly decreased magnesium content in the food and the plants and vegetables that we eat today. So we know that magnesium is the 4th most abundant body mineral, and it is involved in over 300 enzymatic reactions in our body, super important. And it is the 2nd most abundant calcium inside cells. Calcium, magnesium, the pair, the ratio are very important to balance the right biological functions inside our cells. So over the past decades, we have all been educated to take calcium supplement. In fact, calcium supplement needs to be in the right ratio for the body to function properly. Okay. And there is about 120 milligrams of daily loss of magnesium. And the daily recommended income of magnesium is 350 milligrams. So are we taking enough? when you look at the magnesium market, a lot of us are very familiar in this market, and we know that there are many magnesium products already on the market. So let's take a look at them. Their magnesium are valued for their bioavailability. There are two levels of bioavailability. The first level is through the intestinal absorption, okay, go to the bloodstream. So we all know that. For example, magnesium oxide, magnesium sulfate are not very bioavailable. They do not absorb very well through the intestine. Magnesium citrate is better, but a little bit more will cause diarrhea. That is an indication of a poor absorption. Other magnesium glycinate, we all know that it can be absorbed very well through the intestinal systems in our body. However, magnesium glycinate are mostly used in the muscle, in the heart, in other organs. It does not go through the blood-brain barrier. And Magtein is the only magnesium that are able to pass the blood-brain barrier to have the neurological benefits. Okay. So the second part, I will walk you through the science and milestones behind Magtein development. So Magtein was developed by Professor Liu, and he was a PhD student from 1995 from UCLA Neuroscience Department, where he worked with the chairman, Jack Fieldman, working on establish a culture system for able to assay the biological functions of neurotransmitters. And those are early days of neural development. Okay? So what he did is that he was able to engineer a protein that only express when neurons are talking to each other, when signals are transduced, when the memory are formed. Okay? So you're able to see when the neurons are talking to each other. And at that time, this is very advanced technology. Okay? Through an establishment of that system, he was able to screen all the factors that can have an impact on neurotransduction for the intention to find a cure for neurodegenerative disease. Okay? And his early work was published in Nature and Science, all the top journals. Later on, he went to Stanford, worked as a postdoctoral fellow, and over there, they screened all the magnesium compounds and tried to identify the one that can go through the blood-brain barrier to go to the brain to be able to show the benefit for neurological functions. Okay? So they looked at all the magnesium compounds available, and they identified Magtein is the only one that be able to cross the blood-brain barrier in the animal models and to be able to have all these behaviors, improved cognitive functions. Okay, so that is when that work was done when he was a postdoc at Stanford. Then later on, he was recruited as a professor to MIT. Over there, they published the first paper on Magtein in Neuron 2010. And that publication was one of the 3 most downloaded articles for that year, demonstrating how much interest it generated in scientific field. So we, AIDP and Threotech, saw that publication, saw the significant impact it can have in supplement market. We invested in the technology and bring that product over to supplement field. We did the human clinicals, worked out the dosage, worked out the safety, and worked out all the benefits in the humans, and worked out all the regulatory requirements. And we launched that in the US market since 2011. And one of the exciting news is that we have received tremendous feedback from our consumers. And this year, in January, actually, it became a product in Costco. Okay, so here are some of the major findings in animal studies working out the mechanism of how Magtein works. So one thing is that the product is not only verified in Dr. Liu's research, it's also verified by research labs throughout the world that demonstrated, verified the discovery, the benefits we have seen. Okay, so some key findings. This is the figure 1 from the Neuron publication in 2010. So if you can see, the magnesium central spinal fluid, which represent the brain magnesium levels, animals taking the different type of magnesium products for 24 days, and the spinal fluid was taken and assayed for magnesium concentrations, which represent the brain magnesium levels. And you can see this is the control, and it's compared to the most bioavailable inorganic magnesium, magnesium chloride, this one, and the most bioavailable organic magnesium, magnesium gluconate with milk, because they find milk helps the absorption. And you can see that only Magtein are able to significantly, effectively raise the brain magnesium levels to have the benefit. Continued in this publication, the animals, here is the control animals. This is the figure I explained earlier in Dr. Liu's earlier work, that protein was engineered with a GFP. So it's only expressed when neurons are talking to each other. Okay? So it's a very direct vision of how neurons are talking, how the memory are passing through the neuron cells. Okay? So you can see that this is a control animal, hippocampus section. This is Magtein treated for 2 weeks in animals. You take the hippocampus, you can see the section. And this is after 2 weeks, you stop the use of Magtein in the water. And then after 2 weeks, it went back to the control. So here are the quantification in both DG and the CA region of the hippocampus. And you can see that there is 44% increase in the Magtein group and 30% increase in the CA regions. Okay. So this is a physical section, pathology evidence, histology evidence, how Magtein treatment can lead to the improved neuron plasticity in the hippocampus region of the animals. Okay. 2016, a further research into why it works. Okay. So it's actually, this paper examined why L-threonate is the key factors to deliver, to shuffle the magnesium across the blood-brain barrier and inside the neuron cells to be able to raise the intracellular magnesium level in the neuron cells and to be able to allow the animal to have all the benefits that measured at the behavior level. And if you see here, this is actually compared with citrate magnesium, magnesium gluconate, magnesium malate, magnesium glycinate. You can see that only Magtein are able to enter the neuron cells, raise the intracellular neuron magnesium levels to be able to have these measurable benefits in the cognition. Okay, so throughout our studies and all the scientists around the world, we demonstrate by animal studies that Magtein able to enhance overall cognitive function, be able to show that only Magtein is the only magnesium effectively increase the brain's magnesium levels. We're able to show that Magtein increases brain synaptic density, as you see with this fluorescence increasement. And we're able to show that Magtein restore the prefrontal cortex synaptic density of the brain, which controls the complex cognition behavior and emotional responses, okay, and improves short long-term memory, working memory responsible to stressful events, restore aging brain. And if you check the Medline, there's other publications about how Magtein works against the pain, works in many different areas. People are applying Magtein to their research work. Okay, so what are the clinical evidence supporting the Magtein's benefit? So there are 6 published human clinical studies on Magtein from 2016 to 2024. And there is another one we just finished, which also showed a significant benefits, but it's not published. It's a new result we just received. Okay, so these 6 publications, 4 of them are on normal people with memory, complaints about memory, anxiety, have some kind of problems. But 2 of them I want to show you. This is an open label study published by Natalia's group from Stanford Medical School. So we did not sponsor them. They did the research themselves on Alzheimer's patients. Okay, so it's an open label study. They were able to show that Natalia's group actually is a world-renowned Alzheimer's research group. So they were able to show that Magtein, through 8 weeks intake, can significantly improve in the conditions of Alzheimer's patients. Okay, another study I want to show you is Craig Schulman's group, which is a Harvard Medical School group. They are the world-renowned ADHD research group. So they did open label study on adult ADHD. They are able, and this is published, they're able to show that Magtein intake significantly improved ADHD patients, even improved their IQ score. Okay, so these are the 2 ones that are not sponsored by us, but independently and show a benefit in Alzheimer's patients and adult ADHD patients. Okay. So here is the summary of the 4 published double-blind, placebo-controlled human clinicals we did on Magtein. Basically supported in human clinicals that Magtein significantly raised blood magnesium status, significantly improved memory cognition, reduced brain age by 9 years, significantly, and the second study is a formula with Magtein plus PS plus C and D. It was able to show a significant improvement from the cognition, 5 categories of cognition. And this, the last one, this one is the same study with the first one, but looked at the anxiety part of the individuals. And there is significantly reduced Hamilton Anxiety Rating Scale A, which is a fear subscore, compared to placebo. And this is the recent finished, published Magtein study on sleep. Okay, so this result, I will go over that detail in following. Okay, so this one, okay, is the first double-blind placebo-controlled study in the older population. Okay, in this study, we're able to show that Magtein significantly improved the cognition in old adults. But most interestingly, I want to share this data. Okay, so this is a trail making test B. It's a commonly used cognition score. And there's already published population survey of people's real age versus their brain age tested on TMT, trail test B. Okay, so here are the real initial brain age of the group of people who are taking Magtein. The initial brain age is 69.9, and their real age is 57.9. So these are the group taking Magtein. After 3 months of Magtein intake, when they measured again, okay, so here is the post-treatment brain age. They moved from 57.9, they moved from 60.3 to 69.6. Okay, so after 3 months of Magtein intake, they moved the brain age of this older population 9 years younger. Okay, so that is the excitement in addition to the cognitive improvement over the placebo I want to share with you. Thank you. Another one, this is a second human clinicals that done in the Chinese population on a Magtein versus PS formula, okay? So they used 5 categories of the cognition measurements that's commonly done in Chinese hospitals. And you can see that in each of these categories, after 30 days of intake, there is statistically significant improvement over the placebo. Okay, and this one is on the stress and anxiety study. So the improvement is relatively smaller, okay, although it's significant. And this is the last one I was talking about of how Magtein works on sleep quality, mood, so there's a typo there, energy and mental clarity in this double-blind, placebo-controlled clinical trials. Okay. So this one was given instead of 2 grams in our previous study. This one was given at 1 gram of the dosage for 21 days. It's 80 adults, 35 to 55 years of age with self-reported poor sleep quality. Okay. And the out measurements are sleep questionnaires. These are insomnia severity index. All these questionnaires are standard sleep questionnaires. We also used Oura Ring as a objective measurements. And then we measured the mood with restorative sleep questionnaires. And we also measured the energy, productivity, and especially evaluated, again, the safety in this study. Okay, so I am not presenting all the questionnaires. Basically, all the questionnaires are significantly improved in both Magtein and placebo. Okay. However, the group differences are not significant. What we have noticed, and this is very consistent with all our other studies, when we use a subjective questionnaires, we normally see a very strong placebo effect. However, the trend we saw is that with the placebo, it's first significantly improve and then plateaus. But Magtein group continues to improve after the 2nd week. Okay? But because it's a 3-week study, so we're not able to see a significance between the groups in this particular study, which in a recent study, when we extended that to 6 weeks, we're able to see differences. Okay? But what I want to bring to your attention is that the only thing that we saw between group differences are the behaviors following a week. Okay. And when we looked at the Oura Ring, the objective measurements, we are able to see that Magtein significantly improved over the placebo on sleep quality, on the REM sleep score, deep sleep score, and again, on all the activities during the daytime. So this is very consistent with how Magtein works, because intuitively, Magtein works by blocking the background noises, okay? Only let the real activation comes into your brain, okay? So what is happening is that Magtein doesn't help you to fall asleep, but it helps you to have a deep, good sleep during the REM stage, during the deep sleep stage. So your brain get refreshed, get recuperated, and improved your cognition. So in the next day, you have a good cognition, you have a clear mind, you have full of energy. And that is what our studies are telling us. And that is also what our customers are telling us. Okay, so again, so these are consistent with what I just explained in this study. So this double-blind placebo-controlled study significantly improved benefits of Magtein versus placebo in sleep quality, especially deep REM sleep stage, and improved mood, reduced grumpiness, and improved energy, alertness, and daily activity and productivity. Also, the study again showed that Magtein was safe and well tolerated. So this is a new discovery on Magtein that I am very excited. I added this section to share with you why Magtein is so powerful. So Magtein for healthy brain aging. Okay, we know that brain magnesium decreases with aging. And we know that synaptic density decreases with aging, and see the p-value. Synaptic density is actually considered as a biomarker for aging, because when we age, the synaptic density significantly deteriorated, and that's why we lose the memory. Okay. And there's also, in Alzheimer's patients, there's population study demonstrating a low magnesium correlation in Alzheimer's patients. Okay. And we shown you in our previous study that Magtein are able to reverse the brain age of the older population by 9 years after 3 months of intake. Okay. In the Chinese study, there's another association that when we analyzed Magtein's effect versus age, here is a placebo, this is Magtein. We can see that Magtein works throughout 18 to 65, but when you get older, the benefit is much more higher for the younger people. Okay, so there is a publication from Professor Liu's group in 2024, last year, in Nature Communication. So in this publication, what they did is that they tried to understand what is our young brain, what is our old brain, okay? So what is the structure of the young brain versus the old brain? So they find out, without going to all these complicated, detail, what they find out is that there are 2 types of brain structure in our brain, okay? One is that a young neuron brain, the other is the old neuron brain. Young neuron brain is that you have a lot of small connections, okay? And these small connections, they actually have less chemicals, less proteins, less neurotransmitters in these structures, okay? But they are a lot. So in the young brain, you have this a lot, smaller ones. You're able to connect with a lot of neurons, able to communicate, learn new information. So when we get older, these smaller new connections become bigger. So the number are reduced, but each of them become bigger. So you have more proteins, more neurotransmitters stored in this older brain. So in another sense, in the younger ones, you're able to form connections and you're able to communicate, easily change. But in the older ones, you're harder to change, but you are stored a lot of memories, a lot of the things that you have collected over the time. So most interestingly is that when you're given Magtein, they observed a change of the older brain structure to the younger brain structure. So that is what is exciting. So it is provided a mechanism why we saw it reduced the brain age by 9 years. Why we saw all these change we have seen, and the responses we have got from our customers. Okay, so Magtein is really an anti-brain aging ingredient, and the science actually show the mechanism how it works. Okay, so that is all the science, okay, from animal study, from human clinicals on how Magtein works. And we have, since 2011, introduced this ingredient in the US market. So we have worked out all the claims of this ingredient. For cognition and memory, 2 grams per day. For mood, sleep, and productivity, 1 gram per day. And we have worked out most of the regulatory approval for this ingredient, including US FDA GRAS, Novel Food in Europe, as well as other parts of the world. Okay, so I'm so excited for this opportunity to share this ingredient with you. Thank you. And I have been taking this ingredient since 2011. Okay, so every time I take this, I feel the benefit, and it's actually verified by the mechanism. So I feel very proud to be able to introduce this ingredient to many parts of the world. And thank you for your interest.